One sec, I'm going over it.
I don't care if you're ready because we're live.
Oh, are we?
And by live, I of course mean we are recording, which is actually the opposite of live.
Pretty sure the opposite of live is offline or not live.
Whatever, David. This is Intimate ZVX with Stoic, episode 11, game 2. And I think we're in
Mm-hmm.
for a treat here because this goes into late game PvZ, ladies and gentlemen,
Yay.
which we don't get to see very often because of all the goddamn Blink Stalker all-ins.
Indeed.
But we have a Grandmaster player. Actually, all 4 players this week are Grandmaster, are they not?
Believe so.
Okay, so this person's name is Babybyebye.
Apparently.
I don't know.
Alright, let's do it.
ZvP Antigua Shipyard. Not
Crappy
favorable.
positions.
Crappy positions.
Yeah.
All right. Well, without further ado, 3, 2, 1, play. We forgot to sync up last game, yo.
Was it off?
You're at 41 seconds, right?
Yeah.
What
Now
are
I
you
am.
what are you at now?
55, 56. You're already ahead?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay, count up.
5, 106,
Ah, we're good.
107.
We're good. We're good. We're fine.
Probably off like right now.
No, I paused it for a sec.
Ah. No, I mean we're off now because it's been, more than 5 seconds.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Now, do you ever 14-14 anymore? No one
if
gives any love
if
to the
someone
old
told me they were gonna gate expand, I would.
if they told you. You should ask next time. Are you 3
Should.
gating?
Alright, so yeah, the first deviation here, we can see that he's going to be opening not Forge Expand, which is oh so amazing. Ugh. But that's okay. We're just gonna play as we normally do and react. Because that is the way of the Zerg.
The way of the Zerg.
Dun dun dun.
So, your 14 pool, you plan on taking your gas late,
Mm-hmm. Planning on taking a third base, which would be oh so terrible.
but this guy's gonna 3-gate right up in your face. So you're not gonna know. Now, what's the proper reaction when you find out you don't have gas and he's got 3 gateways?
You want to put down your gases as soon as you can afford them.
As
You
soon as you
want
see he
to.
went gateway first, basically, right?
Yep. Now, I will say, to begin with, just so that I don't have to explain this later, when you're in the positions that we are now, like he's directly below me on Antigua Shipyard, you really should not go into late game because the rush distance for him to move across with a death ball is pretty much nothing, and that's really bad for late game PvZ. Distances allow you to, it opens up strategies for the Zerg that are favorable for the Zerg, such as base racing, counterattacks, basically delaying, so you have time to react to a push, either if it's Broodlord's building or Baneling's building or something building. So in these positions, usually you want to do some kind of a aggressive build, which is quite good because even though he's close to you, you're also close to him, which means that aggressive builds do show up to his base faster. So this is good. I finally scout this. I'm like, oh, this is weird. He scouted me so early. He should be here. Where's the Forge? And now I see that he did not go Forge. So I do not want to take that third. So I'm gonna, yeah, not take the third. And there are a few responses to this. You can put your one gas as fast as you can now, or you can wait till about 32 to 36 food and put down 2 gases, and then decide whether you want to use 2 gases or not. That's usually how I like to do it. Depending on how he's transitioning, I'll either mine from 2 gases or just 1, and you'll see why it's a good idea in a bit. So the first thing I'm going to do here is build a spine crawler because he did get that stagger out quite fast. And I also noticed that he built a pylon in a very weird location on the left side. So at this point, I'm quite scared that he's going to do some kind of a push because him wanting to build that pylon outside of his base this early means he probably wants to warp outside of his base to apply pressure.
It's a trap.
So yeah, it's not a bad situation here. It's still very early in the game, so he still could be expanding behind this. There's no way to tell. So you don't want to overdo it. And the reason why I'm only going to mine off 1 gas here is because if he is going to do an aggressive build at this point, I cannot afford losing 6 drones to guess. I can only afford to lose 3. So right now I'm building nothing but units, having my queens at the bottom there, just in case he decides to attack, but I am going to scout with the circling now because it is odd that he didn't show up, so this is good that I didn't build 5 spine crawlers, because as we're going to see right about now, he is expanding. And this is excellent because not only do I see a lot of sentries, which tells me it's not going to be Stargate and it's not going to be DTs, I also see a pylon plus the investment of the Nexus, so for him to cancel that Nexus, he would be very unorthodox. So I'm pretty safe here to just drone up, which is exactly what I'm doing. Now, one cool thing you can do in positions like this is you can do a lot of 2-base tech strategies against Protoss when you open no gas like this, because you do have an abnormally high number of drones.
Whoa! What are you doing with your drones, man?
Oh, that's crazy. Oops.
Okay, say what you're saying again. Sorry, I interrupted.
Yes, you can do a lot of high-tech strategies off 2-base because you are pretty well protected against any gateway pressure from just spines and lings. And the reason for that is because if you know he's not going to be doing tech strategies like DTs or Stargate, spine crawlers alone hard counter gateway units. So you just have to make sure that you have enough accordingly. So I scout his whole army here and I see a pylon there, which is really weird. It looks like he is planning to take a third, but it also could just be a forward pylon, even though it's very close to his base because of the positions that we're in. That pylon actually can be used offensively. So I do want to be careful here. But as you can see, I had a nice drone lead because I was very comfortable to drone at that point. So I'm able to take all my gases, take a macro hatch, and I'm going to be at 50-something drones.
I'm gonna go ahead and pause at 10 minutes or at 9 minutes. We'll sync up.
9 minutes?
Yep.
How are you? There's no way you're
I'm
that
not
ahead.
even that. I'm not close. I'm gonna pause at 9 minutes.
Oh,
I'm at
okay.
8:50.
Oh, we were at the same time.
Oh, are we good? Okay, go ahead.
I sped it up to go to 9 minutes. Okay, say when.
Oh, I'm at 9:05.
3, 4, 5.
Okay, we're back.
So I have chosen to do a late game strategy, which you shouldn't do in these positions. It's going to be very difficult, but fun to watch. So I'm going to be going into infestors so I can get that hype tech as soon as possible. So in order to protect myself, to allow myself to tech to infestors, I'm going to have to build additional spine crawlers here in front of my base. And in this map, it's actually pretty decent in these positions because the spine crawlers at the front of my bases will be able to protect all 3 bases somewhat. At least I'll be able to see him taking down the rocks if he wants to attack me in another location. So I'm going to be taking my third here, scouting constantly to make sure that I know what he has. It's quite a few sentries, so it looks like he's going into Immortal Tech or Colossus Tech. So these spine crawlers will save me for the time being until my infestors will be able to pop. So I want to get that pathogen gland as soon as possible. Infestors are really good against gateway armies and immortal pushes, so if I have that up and I have a decent number of infestors up, I'll be safe to go into tier 3. So I'm adding additional spines here just because he hasn't taken his third yet. So I am expecting some kind of an aggressive push. So these spine crawlers, along with fungal growth from the infestors, will be excellent dealing with gateway pushes like this.
Agreed.
So right now I'm just waiting to secure my third. I'm going to be putting all my gas deposit into infestors and mineral deposit into drones to saturate my third base.
Oh, you really are late gaming it.
Yep. So this Roach Warren is not really needed. It's more of a precautionary thing. It's just weird that he hasn't taken his third yet. So I'd rather have all the low-tech possibilities just in case he does all-in me and I do fend it off. I'll have something to go into. But right when I see him put down that third, as you can see, I built 16 drones because now I feel really safe that he's not going to move out. So this allows me to build 16 drones straight up because he's taken that third. So now I'm at 66 drones and I'm going to keep working to saturate that base. You want to take your gases as soon as possible so you can tech up to hive as fast as you can.
And what's your DPS unit with these infestors? You want lings with it?
Well, at this point, because I have so many spine crawlers, lings is all I actually need. Every single investment you make into roaches delays your tech, so you want to try to cut on the roaches as much as you possibly can.
You're not looking to attack here, right?
No, not at all. Infestors are not offensive units. The mechanic of the infestors is really odd because when they're being attacked into, if you're sitting there and you cast a ranged fungal growth, it's extremely powerful. But when you're going into something, because the range of fungal growth is not that large, um, your infestors always are in a position where they can die when you're attacking into something. Uh, it's not as bad as, say, tank fire, but even against Protoss, if you get force fielded and you lose your infestors, it's pretty bad. So at this point, he's doing some light harassment. This is good that he's going to DT tech for me, because it tells me that his Colossus tech will be slightly delayed, which means that an attack is probably not likely to occur to me anytime soon. And this is quite good that I get to clean up that Warp Prism.
Yeah, I hate warp prisms, but killing them is like, oh.
Yeah. So now I know that he has both Robo Tech plus the DT Tech. So that harassment is probably for him to secure his third base. So I'm pretty safe right now to take another base, which I'm going to be doing right here. So at this point, the ideal thing to go into would be a Spire Tech into Broodlords. But the reason I'm going Ultralist in this case is because my upgrades on melee upgrades are quite good. Like I'm going to be 2-2 moment, like whenever I start upgrading that armor attack. And Ultralisks at the beginning of late game, I guess you can look at it like that, are really, really strong when they're upgraded because they counter all his force fields that he's been saving up from those sentries, and they do counter Colossus and Stalkers if he only goes Colossus and Stalkers. So I do force him to build things like Motherships, Archons, and a whole bunch of Zealots that he doesn't really want to build. So that's going to be the first stage of my tech here in this really long game. It's going to be into Ultralisks, so I want to be as on top on those upgrades as I possibly can. So you can see I'm trying to get my melee upgrades as soon as I can. Already upgrading +3 attack with +2 armor was a little bit late, so just make sure that none of it is late. And I can see it from the minimap that his third base is quite saturated, so it's going to be a long game. I'm not going to be able to win by having an economic advantage, so I'm going to have to get the advantage elsewhere, either through tech or through upgrades. So I'm trying to achieve both. So
you need to not try to expand too aggressively and go drone up. You need to tech and upgrade.
Yep. So he is moving out right now. This is probably the most scary moment, just when I want to transition into my tech, and I'm supply blocked. Oh my god, that's awesome. So I'm going to panic build a little bit of spine crawlers here, but I don't think he's going to attack me at this point, which is pretty lucky for me. This supply block probably would have lost me the game. But the good thing is I still would have been able to stall quite a bit, because Infestors and Fungal do really shut down armies quite well. So I'm just going to continue to take bases here, make sure you spine them up. There's the threat of DT, so I have to build a Spore at every base. And now that I'm not supply blocked, I'm comfortably able to go into my Ultralisk tech switch. And I'm just going to scout out here to make sure he's not in the middle of the map, and I see that he is not.
Ultralisks!
So at this point, in order to use Ultralisks properly, you really want them to be hitting as many Stalkers as they possibly can. Force fields will never stop you, obviously, but positioning will. So if he's in a weird angle and you're approaching from an angle in which your units kind of bottleneck and you have no surface area, then only a few of your Ultralisks will be hitting at a time, and then they are exponentially terrible, even for a late game tier 3 unit. So you want to make sure all your Ultralisks are hitting as many units as they possibly can, and you have to make sure that your Lings aren't blocking them, because force fields are not a problem, but your Lings, your own units, can become a problem. So I am maxed right now, so I'm going to be continuing to transition. I'm going to be getting Neuroparasite along with my Spire in order to inevitably go into Broodlords, because Ultralisks are not really that good late game, so I should not win with this army unless he really screws up. So continuing to take extra bases, the gases are very important, and I have enough spines here to protect me from a lot. So this is quite good that I have control over the center of the map. It allows me to see pretty much the entire map, because he is on the right side of the map. So I'm going to clear these rocks in anticipation of him taking this base, so I can easily attack it. But as I see here that he already took it, which is actually really bad for me. I probably should have harassed it somehow with Lings, but...
Oh, sorry, force fields. Wow, he's got a bunch of Immortals.
Yep.
He actually had a pretty legit army.
Yep.
You don't use the mouse wheel scroll button thing?
No. Alright, so that attack went fairly well. I did catch him a little bit out of position, so you can see how much damage Ultralisk can actually do when they're in good position. I forgot to get Burrow here. Make sure you get Burrow all the time when you go
Yeah, I was
infest.
just gonna say that. Gotta
So
burrow them infestors.
I am safe to wait for these 7 Ultralisks because I do have a lot of Spine Crawlers, and I should be taking additional bases. I don't know why I'm not. Well, it's probably because I have the gold. Okay, that's not a bad decision. So now, obviously, I didn't want to transition into Corruptors after that fight, just in case he did attack me. I wanted to have some kind of an army. So at this point, I'm going to be going back into Ultralisks, pretty much maxed at this point, almost fully upgraded. But definitely my next tech switch, I want to go into Broodlords. Broodlords is the end all you want to end up with in this matchup. The more Broodlords you have, the better. So at this point, this is pretty much a little bit boring because I'm just trying to establish position. So I'm going to be slowly moving my Spine Crawlers closer and closer to his base. He can't really attack me because if he loses his army, he loses this game, and I can't really attack him because his army is technically stronger than mine. So at this point, I'm just trying to wait until I pull enough resources to switch into Broodlords, and then I will try to make something happen with the units I already have, either by killing bases or getting a very good engagement and trading off armies in order to stall for my Broodlords to come out. So at this point, me pushing up here ensures that he can't take his gold base, which is good for me. And I'm going to try to engage as best as I can. So now I see that I'm on a mothership, and that's really bad for me, because that means my army is countered, but like I said, I already planned to transition into air, so this is quite good. I was able to save up enough food to build a decent number of corruptors. So now I'm just going to wait for these to pop, and I'm just going to see what he wants to do, because I know that he's max. He's going to have to do something with his army.
You will be max on observers. A split map Antigua with a Protoss. I've only seen Stefano do it.
Alright, so the corruptors are out. So basically what I want to do in this engagement is kill as much expensive units as possible without losing any corruptors so that I can turn them into Broodlords and continue to build corruptors after this. So make sure you use fungal growth. Corruptors are excellent against Colossus, as you can see. 2 Colossus are already falling. And he does Vortex here, which is quite bad for me because that fight was actually going really well for me up until that point. But this is fine because this is just the way that PvZ works. You can't expect to win versus an army like that, which is why you have to transition out of just Ultralisks. So me retaining this Corruptor count is quite good. He can't push into me still because I have so many Spine Crawlers. And now I'm going to be able to transition into Broodlords after I'm not spot blocked.
Broodlord Ultra. That's gotta be like the ultimate. Broodlord Ultra Infestor?
Expensive.
God damn it.
Alright, so all of these are going to turn into Broodlords. This is really good having positions like this with the Spine Crawlers in front because he can't attack me. So 7 Broodlords on the way. And after this I'm going to continue to build nothing but Broodlords. And at this point I just want to deny him from taking that gold, because that would really pump his economy way ahead of mine, which I really don't want at this point because I know my army is going to be quite strong. And I'm quite upgraded, especially on melee. Fully upgraded on melee. Makes Ultralisks extremely powerful.
You also haven't scouted the bottom left, which he probably has.
I don't have lings at this point to counter it, so I'm just basically focusing on engagements because I cannot mess an engagement up at this point. I cannot afford to get Vortex, so he sees a lot of spines here. He cannot attack into that. So I'm in a very good spot here. I have full control of the middle of the map. He's going to try to go around. It's not going to work at all because now he sees that I have Broodlords. Broodlords are amazing positions.
Does he not have the energy for this?
I guess not. Oh, I took his mothership. Yeah. Alright, so as you can see, Ultralisks become really bad at this point, which is why you don't really want to build any more Ultralisks. You want to go just to the Broodlords. 7 Broodlords alone did way more than like those 7 Ultralisks did, so I'm going to be remaxing on nothing but Corruptors at this point. And I see that he's taking his gold, which is a weird decision because I am in a good spot to snipe it with Broodlords. So I'm going to be building my spines up here to secure the middle, because I know that in order for him to fight me, to hold the space, he's going to have to fight up here. So at this point, you just want to keep up with upgrades as best as you can. I should be putting down a second spire, but it's too late at this point, so I'm just going to have to upgrade up one spire. And high ground position is excellent with infestors. It's so difficult for him to attack up. He's going to try at this point, but I don't think it's going to work. Fungal growth is just too strong when you have the high ground advantage. And there's the vortex while you split your units. Make sure that all your broodlords don't go into it at once. And he didn't get the vortex he wanted, so he's going to have to back off for now. It looks like he wants to try to go around, but luckily I have the high ground, so my infestors will do a lot of damage here. So as you can see, broodlords are just exponentially better than Ultralisks, and finally he's engaging. And this looks like a very good position for me. It's very bad for him to attack up a ramp like this. You can see infestors just completely dominate clumped armies like that.
Wow. You can't attack up a high ground against broodlords and ultras.
Nope. So at this point, this is really good. That fight allows me to deny this gold base. As you can see, his econ is really hurting after that. Nice, dodging storm with broodlords.
I can do that.
Alright,
Dodge
so
storm
at
with
this
overlords.
point, I pretty much have the death ball of this game. So I just want to make sure that he cannot take more bases, and I do significant damage to him before the mothership pops with enough energy for Vortex. So I have a lot of time, and I have a lot of broodlords. 14 broodlords at this point is a really, really good number when he doesn't have a mothership and he just lost half his army. So this attack should end the game. And yeah, this looks really good right now. No mothership, so I'm gonna freely just attack into this. There's really nothing he can do at this point. I have a ton of corruptors also, so I'll be able to snipe the next mothership as fast as possible. And another dodge storm, yeah. So at this point, I'm just spreading to make sure that those storms don't do that much damage to me. And all I need is one fungal, which I think I'm gonna get right here.
Are those lings just there to like draw fire while you get close enough for the kill?
Yep, that's exactly what
You don't
I'm
really
doing.
care about losing them.
No. You just want him to stop moving so I can fungal him. Lings create pathing problems for stalkers and non-hunters and zealots.
So you're making 7 investors. Killed all your drones.
Not really, just spines. Oh, I told him spines.
Oh, you still have 69 drones.
Yep.
Imba! He's right, you know. About everything, damn it.
We both are pretty good. These games are fun. Late game like this is fun.
Yeah, I've never won a late game like this because I never know what to do, but it seems like death ball.
This is more viable on bigger maps. If we were cross spawn, I think this one would have been way easier.
Zerg Imba late game. I don't know. I think Protoss has the advantage late game.
I think so too.
I gotta disagree with this cat. I mean, he had 5 bases.
Yep.
Okay, well,
Alright, and that's the replay.
interesting game.
Next game, here we come.
I got bad news.
What?